New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I am your co-host, Origin Cross, joined today by my amazing co-host.
Hi, I'm Lisa Haden, and today we are welcoming our guest, Chucky Trading Co, or CTC. Hi, how are you guys?
Hi, doing great.
Doing really well.
Doing
It's
well.
great to be with you, Lisa and Origin.
Yeah, we're
It's
glad
lovely to
have
have you.
And I'm Chuck Taber, or CS Taber, but my friends call me Chuck.
I'm Patricia Danger Taber. I have a lot of nicknames, but Danger's my favorite, so feel free to use it.
Where do those nicknames come from out of interest?
Oh, a lot of them come from theater. I've done a lot of theater. Danger particularly comes from a production of Treasure Island. The person playing Jim said I was the scariest pirate, and so I became Danger, and it stuck.
She is pretty scary.
I think that's just brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So please give us a quick introduction of you guys for anybody who's just getting to know you.
Mm-hmm. I'll jump in first. So, our new album starts with the line, "I was raised by wolves." We were not actually raised by wolves, but we were raised in the wild. We were raised in, both of us were born in Central African Republic. And we grew up in various West African countries, splitting sometime here in the US and sometime there.
It was great.
It was great, yeah. It was really an unusual childhood, and I think it had a real impact on us. The fact that we didn't have any screens, we didn't have any many of the modern distractions we just didn't have as children.
No telephones of any kind, actually, for us.
That's true.
Wow.
So with no telephone, no TV, nothing like that, we entertained ourselves. We had a very creative childhood. We have three older sisters who are also creative. They're all musically inclined. Our parents were musically inclined. We wrote and sort of performed our own shows as kids. So we sort of were thrown into creativity at a very early age and loved it. When we moved to the States, when we were teenagers, we moved to Tennessee, the land of acoustic music traditions. And we immediately were captured by a lot of the sounds that were around us at the time, from bluegrass to folk rock to really all different kinds of sounds. We performed together in several different groups, mostly just live performance groups. Probably the most successful of those groups was a four-piece group called 3 a.m. And we were together for a while and did a lot of original music. That's when I first started writing songs. Pat, you started writing songs then too?
Yeah, we did some writing together. And actually, my first song that I wrote by myself was during 3 a.m. because everybody else in the band had written songs we were doing, and I hadn't. So I went out on the porch and decided I wouldn't come in till I wrote a song. So it wasn't a very good song, but we did it.
Oh, it was actually a good song, but not as good as some of the later ones that you did. So 3 a.m. we were a fairly successful performing group in the region, but that band broke up. I think I was primarily the culprit because I decided to go off to graduate school. I'd finished college and I decided I wanted to go to graduate school. So I headed off to University of Illinois and did a whole graduate degree, and then ended up in a whole nother career path having nothing to do with music. And that went on for a long time, decades.
Well, he was doing that after he left. I got together with one of our friends and we had a duo, Taber and Hart, and we played a lot of the same places and some other places around the area. And one of the places we played and that 3 a.m. played too was where we got the name of the band, or where Chuck got the name of the band. It was a place called the Chucky Trading Company, and we played there every week. And it was a really fun, awesome place. The guides that would do whitewater rafting tours on the Nola Chucky would come in, and it was just a really cool place. And so it's got a big place in our hearts. What?
Great Mexican food. They paid us with Mexican food for our music.
That was part of our pay. And then eventually I moved to Nashville, and I did a lot of writers' nights and things and showcases. And then I found myself mostly doing theater, which I'd done before too, but I was always kind of going back and forth. And so I did a lot of that, but I kept doing some cabarets around town and playing a little bit from time to time until just a few years ago. You can take it, Chuck.
So this is a story that I know is really, you hear this all the time. You're probably tired of it, the COVID phenomenon, right? So when COVID came, I found myself, I was in Kansas when COVID hit. I was living away from my family because I had a job in Kansas and they were still in New York. So the separation and isolation of COVID hit me particularly hard. My
One of
family
the songs on the album is about that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. New York was particularly locked down, so I didn't see my family for about 6 months. So I picked up the guitar, which I hadn't really done anything with in 30 years. And I picked up the guitar, started to play, started to write songs, and they just kind of flowed out of me. It was such a strange phenomenon. I hadn't written a song literally in 30 years. And suddenly I was writing 4 or 5 songs a day. They were just flowing out of me. And I didn't really know how to record myself at that point. So I did some really bad recordings and sent them to a friend of mine who was a record producer in Florida, a pretty successful guy named Everett Young, a jazz player, really good musician, way out of my league. And I sent it to him and he listened to the songs. He said, "These are some really good songs. We should record these songs." And I'm like, "Oh, well, okay." And he got on a plane and flew to Kansas on his own dime and said, "You know what? I'm going to produce you. We're going to do a song. We're going to do an album together." And so that was the start of Chucky Trading Company. And we did an album together, and Pat came in the late stages. That was initially a solo project of mine with Everett producing. And Pat came in the late stages and just did lay down some great harmony. We remembered, how great it was to perform together, which we hadn't done in so many years.
It's so much fun.
It was incredible, yeah. And so we immediately became a duo when Pat came in to lay down the harmonies on that first album. So that was the story. That's how we recorded. I did not have any clue how to do any of this just 4 years ago. And then when we were ready to do a second album, going into to 2024, I reached out to Everett to see if he wanted to produce another album. And he's a pretty successful film score composer as well. And he had like a lineup of like 6 films backed up that he had to score, so he had no time. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this thing. So we did the current album is, I produced it. I wrote the song.
It's amazing. All the stuff that you learned. I'm just amazed.
I had no idea I could do this. Anyway, that was fun.
That sounds amazing. So could you tell us a little bit about how your background, sort of living in Africa, living in the US, how that's impacted your music and influenced what it is that you write?
Well, I think it's, we're the sum of all of our experiences. And I think that everything that we listen to, influences from Africa, from every place we went. Just, everything comes into play. Both of us were particularly influenced by like music, Simon and Garfunkel and Paul Simon songs, harmonies, tons of harmonies. We love them. The music that we were drawn to. And there was a lot of that in overseas, but also in.
We did have a record player. We had a record player, and I remember wearing out some records. We wore out Santana's Abraxas. We wore out all the Simon and Garfunkel's songs. Paul Simon's my favorite songwriter, so I was very much influenced by all that. A lot of records that we played back then that I think had a huge influence on us.
And we also, our family grew up reading to each other a lot. I love reading out loud. We all do. And so we've read some really long books together out loud, actually, like Trinity and Centennial. But all those things also influence. We like to tell stories.
Yeah, that's really key. It's key for understanding our music is that we're really storytellers in song.
Okay. No, I like that. And so for you guys, I know you try to incorporate, also visual art and theater into your music, and you talk about how you grew up. Kind of how do you approach that, and how do you work that in?
Well, actually, during the COVID phenomenon, when Chuck was asking me to join him, the first thing he asked was if I would do some artwork for the cover. And I said, of course.
That's an amazing visual artist, just so you know.
I've just always drawn. Even when we were little kids, we would occasionally have drawing contests. I think maybe I kind of won usually, but I've just always done it. And I never studied it. I'm finding now that I probably would have had some shortcuts to doing some things if I learned how, but YouTube is very helpful. And so with the visual art, we're continuing that in this current album. I did art for the covers. I'm doing art for the videos. And it's kind of cool that that's something we can add. I see all the arts as being really, really interwoven. And so to me, visual art is a part of the music. I see things, and a part of theater. It all joins together.
And an example of this, we just recently did a video for our song "Make Your Own Sunshine," which, by the way, is a really unusual song for me because it's a very upbeat, happy song. And
we're happy people, but
I write really sad songs. But this song is really upbeat and happy. And so the video we did was of Pat sort of drawing the things that we're talking about, the stories that we're telling in it. She's sketching them and being videoed while sketching them. And then we speed it all up. So you see she's drawing the things. It's actually really very cool.
That does sound awesome. That sounds really great, because I used to love watching things like that. Was it Tim Ross who used to do a lot of drawing? And I used to love watching that when I was little, because I was always quite creative too. So you've both got this creativity within you, and this obviously comes out in your storytelling, in your songs. What sort of stories do you like to tell? Is there a theme, or do you go on your experiences, or is it just whatever comes to mind?
Well, all the songs on this album were written by Chuck, so.
Yeah, so the album that we just did, I did write all the songs, although again, Pat is a songwriter, and the album that we'll do next will include more songs that we collaborate on or that Pat writes. But there really are stories that come to me. I think much like a short storyteller, ideas may come to them, and they're grounded in experience, but they're not literally things that are my experience usually. So, for example, a song we wrote that has been on NAS, "Charlie's Alone," is a song about domestic violence, and it's the story of a young woman who's the survivor of domestic violence, and it's told from the point of view of Charlie, the woman's mother. And that song idea and the story came to me because I'm a college professor. I'm now a retired college professor. And so I see a lot of young people all the time. I have students and so on. And I had several students that had been victims of domestic violence. And that, I think, was what sparked this particular story. But each case is totally different. It's just, I don't know where creativity comes from. You can figure that out, let me know. But it comes from somewhere. And that spark of inspiration that comes is special. It's precious, but it's different each time.
Yeah, and I think you really hit. It's pretty sparse lyrically, which I love, but it hits a real emotional truth. So it was very easy for me to sing it and to feel. I feel like every song is a little play, and so it's just telling a story, telling the story. It's a very hopeful one.
Yeah, I have to tell you, in the experience I had writing this album, I would write a song and I send it off to Pat to think about, and we sort of divvied up the lead vocals on these based upon what we thought, we thought the song needed, who would be more appropriate for that particular song. But especially the ones that Pat sang lead on, but even the ones I sang lead on, she wanted to know so much more about where this story came from.
I do.
And she was literally getting into character for that story to sing it, which I love. I think that's so incredible. And I think that's why she captures the emotions of songs so well when she sings them, because she's really in character. And so I'm literally, I hadn't thought that deeply. I told the story, but I maybe hadn't thought about, what they'd had for breakfast, or, what exactly the experiences were that led to this. And so that was an interesting experience to have to sort of think back and sort of come up with the background to the stories as well.
Well, I'm happy to come up with my own background too, but I don't want to do something that goes against what the writer meant.
But see, here we're doing a sibling thing here. You and I disagree about this because I've always felt that the listener of a song has just as much right to interpret that song as the writer.
Oh, I totally agree. I agree. I just have to have something being an interpreter of a song, if I'm going to do it, have to have something in me that I can interpret. And then people can interpolate from that what they wish.
I agree. Cool.
I think one really great thing there is people talk a lot about music, like for those who become successful, it is the believability of the artist that is what gets them like across that threshold, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of genres, like if you can write a song, you can perform a song, create a song, but if nobody believes it doesn't connect with people, it's kind of worthless. Right.
I agree. In fact, in theater, I have just, whether I like a performance or not, it's just two criteria. Did I believe them, and did I care?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It's really
I
good.
think one of the things I've noticed in the new artist spotlight is I'm just astounded really at how many artists have that genuineness that you're talking about, Origin. And I think about, and across lots of different genres. And I think it's part of being in a community like this brings out the best in the artists that are part of that community. You hear another artist perform something like I'm captured right now by the Telly Iron song that's out right now. That guy can sing, and he's really in the song. There's such it's so genuine. It's so real that you feel the emotions of the song in a different way as the listener. And I think there are many artists in NAS that are that way, that have the ability to evoke emotion.
Definitely. So for you guys, and I know you're in different places right now, but how often are you in the same place working together, and then are y'all working toward a particular thing? Do you guys have a goal that y'all are hoping to achieve as CTC, or is this just for the love of the music? And like,
Yeah, we would very much like to do live performances, which I love live performances. It's a little bit, it's not a problem with being apart, but it does create challenges. And with almost so much of the stuff on the albums being us, we need to get other musicians, which would be great, musicians and other vocalists to join. And we've got to figure out where we're going to go. But we're already starting working on another album. And I personally want to do a lot of writing and just get better at everything and keep telling stories. How about you?
Yeah, so I agreed. I want to keep learning, keep growing. This last album that we just did, as I said earlier, I had to learn so much because I didn't know anything. When I started the project, I didn't know how to make a record. I had it. The one previously was produced by someone who knew what he was doing, but I hadn't ever done it. Didn't know how to record. Didn't know how to use a DAW. So I was just so much learning still going on, and I want to keep growing as an artist. But we do. I mean, I feel like we've already exceeded my own original expectations by quite a ways. I had no expectation that music that I wrote and recorded with my sister was going to be listened to by people in Sri Lanka. Was going to be,
Awesome.
I had no expectation of that. That's phenomenal. So now I think we have the opportunity to move up a little bit in our expectations. it's not going to be, it's not fame and fortune like a 20-year-old me might have said I wanted to have. I mean, I still selling T-shirts, so you can come online and get a Chucky Trading Company T-shirt.
I need one.
Help the cause, but that's not really ever the end goal for me. It's more about two things for me. It's about continuing to grow in the music so that it's always evolving, and getting that music out so that people hear it. And so to me, it's those two things that are my goals. I want people to hear my music, and I want to get better and better at that. So
I also want to work a lot more with my brother, because it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's worthy of an awe.
Oh, I wish my children were like you too. They can't stand to be in the same room with each other.
Maybe when they get older, though. Although we always got along great.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
did
lovely.
actually. We did actually.
So you're talking about getting your music out there, and obviously NAS has been a part of that. How did you first find NAS, and what other ways have you taken to get your music out there and heard by the community?
Sure. So I'm the one that's marketing our music. Pat doesn't even have social media accounts. So really a very
Working on it.
She lives in the moment, the experience, etc. Right? Is that right?
Well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, in a digital world, I'm really more analog. I like things. I like personal contact and being in the room. But I'm so grateful to all the stuff that lets us do stuff when we can't be in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm also really grateful to NAS for. I think it's awesome how supportive everybody is, and that's how the world should be, but that's definitely how the arts should be. Everybody helping everybody else out and getting inspired by each other.
Yeah, I was actually really skeptical initially of NAS. I had built up a Twitter following, and I Bandcamp, and so on. But I had several friends that were already in NAS. So Portobello Express, Betty Daigle was a good friend for a long time. Animax, a metal band, is actually a solo project. One guy behind that project, and they were obviously enjoying being in NAS. So I decided to give it a try, and so I joined about a year ago. And I've been the one that's been active in NAS through this time. It's me that's on the artist chat and so on. And maybe
I am going to start to join in.
Yeah. But what I found, and it wasn't immediately, I'll say, but when I started to join the various chats, like the Oddzo show, the Thursday show, and the Top 20 show with Daniel Tidwell, those experiences were really eye-opening, because that's when I first saw the community behaving as a community. And again, I was skeptical prior to that. I'd heard people talking that talk before in other organizations. But I was watching the chat, and people were kind, and people were genuinely supportive, and they were pointing out the things they liked about other people's music. And it didn't feel like a super competitive environment in terms of artists competing with other artists, but rather I could see collaborations were appearing, and they were successful. And I started reading the Connolly reviews and all the various aspects of NAS over time as I figured them out. And that took a little while to figure everything out. But as I figured it all out, I thought, wow, this is actually a community that walks the walk. This is a community really does support artists. And there are disagreements. I mean, I've seen certainly disagreements. I have my own AI opinions, for example. But any good community is going to have disagreements in the community. A family will have disagreements in the family, and that's not something to worry about or avoid. I think that that NAS is really a very healthy community.
I love that it's so international. That's wonderful. It's a great big world. And I hate excluding things. So including is great.
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So since we're including, let's include some of you guys' music here on the show as well. Give us a little bit of a background on the song we're going to play today.
So the song we're going to do is White Widow. And actually, Pat, why don't you start, since you sing the lead on this one, just about what the song is, and then I'll introduce it.
It is, well, this one's very much a story. To me, it's like this one's a little movie. It's a Western, and there's a young bride who her husband has been killed, and she is trying to avenge his death. And she is a young bride. This is just a little thing that I made up for myself, that her hair is white because of the shock of her husband dying. And so suddenly overnight, I knew somebody that happened to once. And anyway, this is that story. And I love, again, there's sparse lyrics, but to me, they really, really paint a picture. It made me know what to do when I was doing artwork.
Musically, this song is as close as we get to Southern rock with more of a true, real rock feel. We're a folk rock band, leaning into the folk side of our trademark is our vocal harmonies, the acoustic instruments, etc. This song, we needed a real rocking lead guitar.
Oh, I love it. The guy that did it.
I can play, but I can't. But I knew I wanted someone else's playing on this track, so reached out to a friend named Daniel Altman, Tel Aviv. Yeah, and he's an Israeli musician, and he plays the lead guitars on this track, and it's Southern folk rock. How's that?
Awesome. Well, if you guys will do us the honor, give us the hard introduction, and we'll jump right in.
Okay, this song is White Widow. This song is sung by Danger with lead guitar by Daniel Helfman, and you'll see the artwork on this is a painting that Pat, actually a drawing that Pat did. This is a painting.
It covers a painting.
Okay, yeah. Take it away.
It has colors.
Settle the score, sulfur in the air, vengeance rides with no name. White widow, devil hears her prayer, vengeance handing out blame. On a white horse, dry creek, blazing sun, lawmen out in force, town folk on the run. Settle the score, sulfur in the air, vengeance rides with no name. White widow, devil hears her prayer, vengeance handed out blame. vengeance rides with no name. White widow, devil hears her prayer, vengeance handing out blame.
And that was White Widow by CTC Chucky Trading Company. That was absolutely fantastic. Love acoustic songs, love the rock side of that. Really, really great stuff. So your next album, is it along the same sort of feel in terms of folky sort of rock, or do we have other genres coming into play?
I
So
don't
the-
know. But
Well,
definitely
it's
it'll have
gonna-
the bass, but
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to have a range of musical sounds. I want to lean a little bit more into the rock than in the last album. It'll probably continue to have probably 2 or 3 songs that are very, very acoustic based, which I think is a sweet spot for us, vocal harmonies. But my intention is for there to be much more rock. One of the songs, for example, is going to be a remake of a song that was recorded on the first album that we did, a song called Psychopath Cool. And when I wrote that song, I had a particular vision in mind for it. I had no idea how to get there. My friend Everett Young, the producer I told you about, ended up arranging the song as really, it's cool. It's a cool eclectic arrangement with a fiddle, jazz piano, and it sounds great. I really like the arrangement, but it's totally unlike what I had in mind when I wrote the song. So we want to do that one again, and this one's going to be more prog rock. It's going to be a sort of a Jethro Tull sort of sound with a flute and so on, and much heavier drums and bass than we've typically used. So that's going to be, I hope, a standout track that'll be part of our evolution. That'll take us in a different direction from the last album.
Okay. Yeah, so leaning into a different direction, something heavier, is something that we do here on the show pretty much every episode, because we go into this kind of darker, heavier segment that we've come to know and love, and you guys have come to dread every single week. We're gonna jump into the Noir Spotlight Quickfire 5, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it.
It has a reputation.
Lisa, what are the rules again, and what's at stake here?
So we're going to shoot 5 questions at you. You have, is it 15 seconds?
It's 15 seconds that they have to share.
Oh, yes, you have to
we
share
can
that.
do that.
So that's per question. And if you go over that time limit, we reserve the right to take all your music off Spotify and you have to start all over again.
Oh, okay.
It's harsh.
The stakes are
Got
high.
it. Yeah.
Well, they all ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Question 1, what is your favorite song from the Noir Spotlight playlist?
Ooh. So, I mean, there's so many great songs that I love, but I'm going to immediately go to the song I've been listening to for the last month or so, You're Not Okay by Patrick Loren.
All right. Good answer.
Is it okay if we each take questions
Sure.
rather than? Okay, cool.
Okay. Right, question 2. If you could have dinner with any music artist, past or present, who would it be and why?
So I'm going to jump in because I really, really, really want to have dinner with Jeff Tweedy. Jeff Tweedy from Wilco fame, he just came out with a new magnum opus 30-song album. It's actually a 3 CD set. He just came out with. This guy's a poet and a tremendous musician as well. I would love to sit down with Jeff Tweedy.
What does a successful career in music mean for you?
It means being able to continue making music and telling stories and getting better and communicating those stories to the world, to whoever would like to listen.
Okay, doing well so far. Right, next question. What is your guilty pleasure song?
I can think of some, but they're probably not all that guilty. I would say Love Potion number 9 from the 60s by the Searchers.
Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond. Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
And what was the last artist that you've seen perform in person?
Graham Nash.
Eric Clapton.
Cool.
Nice. I don't know. I think you guys did pretty well.
Yeah, we've had some people that I've spoken for way longer than that.
So I saw one of those podcasts, and I thought, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to go on and on. I'm not really a rule follower, but this seems like a rule to follow.
I am a rule follower on some of them, but I'm usually seen as kind of quiet. So.
Got you.
Well, you played it smart because you took one question each, whereas we have some people who give us 2 answers to one question, and I think that's where they start to go over the time limit then.
Yeah. They give us
All
2
in the strategy.
theses and then go into the process of trying to defend those theses at the same time.
And probably attack them too. Yeah.
Just get in, get out. Say your answer.
So we talked a little bit about what's to come. So for everybody who wants to stay tuned with your journey, where can they connect with you guys?
We're going to continue releasing music from the current album. Our release strategy, which we didn't mention, is that we create an album and we put it out on Bandcamp and our webpage as a full album, but we're releasing them as singles slowly over a period of time. And so we still have a little over half of the current album to come out as singles, so to NAS, for example. So our next song coming out is going to be a song called Happy, and it's not.
It's one of my favorites on the album, actually.
I like the song a lot as well. I sing lead on this one. And then longer term, we mentioned that we've got the album that we're going to be working on over the next several months. I have a goal, I don't know if we'll make it, of releasing that album still in the year 2026. Takes us a while to produce a full album, but that's
one of the songs on the album I'm looking forward to. I'll get to sing some in French, which is fun. I love singing in different languages.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, this is a song about an assassin, a French assassin.
Yeah, a fun one about an assassin.
You have to do translation of the lyrics so we can see what it is that you're saying, because I love that when you hear a song and it's not in your language, so you can sort of read along with the lyrics to get an idea of the story when it's a storytelling song as well.
I think that's a great idea, although a lot of this is in English too, so I think you probably could get it from just the mix of them, but I really like having lyrics with it. I want to know what it's saying.
I'm still with you, Lisa. I just love songs in languages I don't speak. There's just something about it. It's just other languages are so musical. Different languages, many of them are very musical.
I think it sort of reminds you that language is almost a universal thing, isn't it, with music? You can understand the feel of a song without actually understanding the words of a song, which is amazing.
It brings us together. We need so much of that now. We need that.
Definitely. So where can we buy one of your t-shirts? Is that from your website?
You can find this, actually, no, this is not, but you can find it on Tone Threads. We have our page on Tone Threads, but also Bandcamp. You can find our Bandcamp site. And if you buy a t-shirt, you'll get a free download of our new album.
Excellent. And is that just Chucky Trading Co?
Yes.
Great.
That's where we are. You'll find us on any of the social media sites or whatever was Chucky Trading Co. And our website is just chuckytradingco.com.
Excellent. We'll start stalking you now then.
Cool.
Great.
Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for coming on and spending some time with us. It's been a great conversation. It's great to have you.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you very much.
Yes. We can't wait to hear what comes next.
Oh.
Me either.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one and peace out.
New Artist Spotlight.